Hey Baraka, how are you?
I'm good.
How is school?
Fine.
Good, and you're doing well?
Yes.
Yes, good. I was just explaining to Ruth that I want to make a short movie about you and about your story. So I wanted to call and make sure that you're okay with that.
Yes.
Yes, you're okay with me making that?
Yes. I'm happy.
You're happy. That's good. That's good.
Baraka was born with 2 fingers on one hand and no fingers on the other hand, and his mother tried to kill him on 3 occasions. She threw him into a garbage dump. His grandmother, Grace, decided she needed to care for him. Before the mother gave this little boy up, she actually named him. She called him Mathini. Mathini in Kikamba means suffering. She called the boy Suffering.
Their grandmother is very old and fragile, but she was looking after 9 grandchildren. Her children had died, and one son just disappeared, and his wife also left. Actually, his wife left when Baraka was born. When Baraka was born with a deformity, she wanted to throw him away. She wanted to kill him. So she would throw him in a pit, and the grandmother would go and pick him up.
My name is Baraka Mawa. I learn at Changoma Primary School. I'm in grade 5. When I grow up, I intend to be an engineer.
Muthini watched his grandmother stirring the big pot. He knew there wouldn't be much to eat, but whatever there was would be shared equally among her 9 grandchildren.
Grace tried the best that she could. She had 9 grandkids. In a place where people are poor, Grace was probably one of the poorest people I've ever been around. I remember the first meeting, I was walking back up the side of the mountain with the headmaster of the school, and he just looked almost ill. And I said to him, "What's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" And he said to me, "I've lived here my entire life. I was born here. I'm the headmaster of the school. I had no idea that anybody was that poor."
The cousins ate quietly. In truth, they were more like brothers and sisters than cousins. Over time, they had come to live with their Nanya when their own parents had died or left. There was never enough money or food, but Muthini knew his Nanya did her best. She always gave what she had, extra portions of love.
For supper, at least once a week, she would put water on to boil and say to them, "Supper's coming, supper's coming." What she hoped was that they'd fall asleep because there was no food to feed them that night.
They walked along hand in hand. Muthini was working hard to keep his tears inside so he wouldn't upset his grandmother.
She originally came to us and asked if we could take one of the grandchildren, a little girl named Kanini, into our orphanage, and we agreed to do that. With our program, we never take guardianship. It always remains in the hands of the grandparents. They still see them all the time, but Kanini came to live with us.
They stopped at the gates of the little building. There was no sign. Was this the right place? Muthini wondered. Then he heard the sound of children laughing and playing.
She then came about a year later and said, "Little Mathini, he's a bright boy, he's a good boy, he needs so much more than I can give him. Do you have room for Mathini in your orphanage?" And we said, "Grace, we're sorry, there's no room for Mathini."
How could he have expected there to be a spot for him when there was already so many children? Should I bring him back in a week or 2 or in a month? She asked.
She said she understood it was very crowded, there's so many orphans. She said, "If I come back in 3 months or 6 months, will there be room for Mathini?" And we said, "Grace, you don't understand. There will never be room for Mathini in our orphanage. There'll never be room for suffering. But if we can change his name to Baraka, which means blessing, he can come tomorrow."
You want me to change my name? Muthini asked. I want you to change your future, Gabriel replied. I can never look at you and see suffering, and I don't want others to see it as well. I want them to hear your name and see what I see, what your Nanya sees, a blessing, Baraka. His grandmother smiled. That is all I have ever seen. The man held out his hand again. Hello, my name is Gabriel. Muthini hesitated, unsure of what to do or what to say. Then he knew. He held out the hand with just 2 fingers and took Gabriel's outstretched hand. Hello, Gabriel. My name is Baraka, because I am a blessing.
Through all of this, it's important to remember that Baraka is still a young man. He's going through his childhood. He's becoming a young man as he's moving through grade 8. But the whole way through, he's just a kid. He's a kid who loves to laugh and play, joke around. He's got an incredible sense of humor. He uses English playfully. He likes to smile and he likes to make other people smile. His interaction with kids is always fascinating because he's gone from somebody who felt almost embarrassed about what he didn't have to being proud of what he does have. To see that confidence, to see him grow, has become such an incredible opportunity for all of us.
I wrote this book
Kiel's gonna translate.
about you and your grandchildren and Baraka.
Everybody takes different things away from a book. That's one of the wonderful things about it. There's different messages people take. For me, I think there's an idea of perseverance. There's a message about how we're not all the same. We have different blessings and different abilities and different disabilities. And we have to look at the ability of somebody, not their disabilities, the things that make them strong as opposed to the things that in some ways could be seen as weakening them.
I wanted people in Canada to know about how much you are a good grandmother and how much you care for your grandchildren.
For me, this whole orphanage project is very close to my heart. My mother died when I was 4 years of age. My father was not able to provide for us, so I think I know what it's like on some level emotionally to be an orphan. So I have such admiration for these kids who they won't quit, they just keep going. And Baraka is such an example of a kid who just keeps going. I'm going to be watching, anticipating what he becomes over the next 20 years. I know he's going to become something really special, because he already is somebody pretty special.
Before you came to Creation Hope, where did you live? What was that like? It's okay if you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to? No. Okay.
Baraka happens to be not just a 14-year-old boy, he's one of my heroes. This is a kid who does not know how to quit. Despite all that he's gone through, the abandonment, the poverty, the desperation, the taunts from people in the community, he always remained positive. He continues to smile, continues to look at the world positively. Sometimes we end up with, I guess, some people call first world problems. We get so upset by minor things. The internet doesn't work as fast, your plane is delayed a little bit, there's a traffic jam, your latte isn't hot enough. Think about what Baraka endured and overcame to become the person he is now. It's heroic. I look up to Baraka. There are literally millions of orphans in Canada. It's very hard for any of us to understand what a million of anything looks like. What I try and do through this book is I want people to not think of the millions of orphans, I want them to think of one. His name is Baraka, and he really is a blessing.
Baraka.
This book is about my story. Thank you, Eric, for telling me my story. And I'm going to come famous.